Hola ballers! And it's that time again where I got to jump back into Warframe finally. I have such a, you might be like surprised, right? I have a weird, really unusual life with Warframe. I love Warframe a lot. And I've played, I don't know, 60, 70 hours of it. The problem is that when I started playing Warframe was not like out of choice. It was a sponsor deal that came across my desk from Warframe themselves while we were doing a lot of on-screen testing of older games in their rejuvenation process, right? So I did like Eve and some other ones and tried their new starter experiences and all that. And Warframe was like, oh, you know, Mike's checking out other things, certainly after the history of World of Warcraft. And what they decided to do, because they thought it would be better, was to pair me up with another streamer called Iflin. And Iflin's a wonderful person, like a dedicated Warframe content creator, and we spent a few days together going through Warframe. One, that was a big bonus. Showed me the correct path to go on, what you needed to do to be efficient, to get access to the 12 years. It's the 12-year anniversary, by the way. And this video is sponsored, but you'll understand why in a second. And so we did that. However, if you get carried in a game, you don't learn that much about the intricacies and the bits and bobs. And I ended up like after like probably my first 10 hours, it's like, right, now you're on your own. I was like, I don't really know how a lot of stuff works. The modding and all the intricacies here. I have a dog and I have like a giant mech and I have a Gundam and I have all these things to fly through space and do all these amazing things. And I was having so much fun. And then it's like, okay, you need to like configure things yourself. And I was like, So since then, I decided to do it off my own back, but it always comes in opposition of when we're doing something else, because it's one of those games like an MMO. It requires like several hundred hours, and we've been doing a lot of stuff recently, as you've seen. So Warframe, in their joyous ways, because we've had so much fun with them, and we talk regularly, like Nupss talks to the guys at Digital Extremes a lot, is they went, it's our 12-year anniversary, and we've listened to Mike. We just want him to play and enjoy the story. So we're going to sponsor you guys just to play the game. Like, absolutely ridiculous. So I was like, oh, is that where we're at, man? Just enjoy yourself. Just have fun. And just make people aware of the game existing. And I'm like, that's cool, man. And I did. We're going to talk about Second Dream today, which is a revelation in a gaming moment. I wouldn't say we've not had things like this recently, because I actually think Helldivers 2 kind of got close to this kind of moment, but when I express to you what this is, and there will be a little bit of spoilers here, although you won't have much context if you've never played the game, but it's insane to me that what I'm about to share with you actually happened in the modern era. So I do want to give shout-outs, obviously, to Warframe. They're wonderful people. It's a free-to-play game. Obviously, there's microtransactions for skins and things like that. And the whole purpose of the game is you are a Tenno, and a Tenno can inhabit a frame which gives a whole multitude of different abilities and hero powers. I like playing the Rhino. This is actually one of the default frames that you get like at the start of the game. I love this thing. Much to the annoyance of a lot of people, they're like, I like this one, I like that one, because they're all super different, and you can try all those things out. But they've got the new one coming called Temple, which is going to be like rock and roll themed, that's coming along with this. And they have also got like Warframe 1999, which you might have seen some videos around on the internet. Either way, it's important to me to just... It's 12 years this game's been out. It's been out as long as some of your favorite MMOs, and it's still just pumping out content after content that's really well made and has a really interesting story mode. This is one of those games you could jump into, kind of like PoE, and you just have hundreds of hours of content to play around with, which I don't have the time for, which is what led us down this road. But Second Dream, man. I never know what I'm in for with Warframe when I jump in and play it. Like, I will go to a map that seems like another, and suddenly it's a market city, and there's, you know, people walking around all over in these fancy frames that can all be colored and customized, and everybody looks crazy different. And then you go out into a battlefield where there's enormous super mechs wandering around and giant boss mobs. Then you can go a different way where you will get like a hoverboard and you can do skateboarding, Tony Hawk type stuff, right? You can grind and do all kinds of things all over the place. And then you'll go and do another mission where you actually build a guild clan spaceship, essentially, which is also fully customizable. Like, and you know, No Man's Sky's been doing it recently, but Warframe's been doing it as well for a very long time. And then you go on another mission where you literally in like a big Gundam mech and you're flying through space. So I never know what I'm going into. Before I did this, and I'm sorry to say this happened off stream, so sorry Bex, you won't have a clip of this. There was a part of my ship that's locked off. So some parts of your spaceship, and you get your own spaceship, is locked off to me. And it's got like this like sort of viral pathogen virus biological matter around it. And when I logged in, the door was open. I was like, okay. And there's a chair in there. All right. So I wander over and I sit in the, and I like interact, sit in chair. And I sit in the chair and I get stabbed directly in the neck by this giant like scorpion tail thing. And then ripped out of me. And then as I dazedly walk out of the room, the door closes. I'm like, what is happening? And I've been like cured of a virus. And it was like, okay, something weird's going on. And then it gave me the second dream. The second dream. So how to explain this for you for non-listeners as to how awesome this was, because it was so good. The second dream is basically some backstory for the Tenno. So you've got to go back in time here, these 12 years, and for several years, the Tenno is you, but you don't really ever interact with the Tenno. You only interact with the frames that you inhabit. You have your spaceship, you've got a foundry to craft things, you've got your pet management for your dog that comes out with you on missions, you've got modding stations and things like that, and a big rig similar to what you'd find in Fallout to modify your frames and customize them, put different power abilities on them and colors and all sorts of stuff. Obviously, I go with Laffy Taffy. And that was all well and good, but you never really had any interaction with the character that is you. Like, you are up somewhere and you're taken care of by this lady called the Lotus, and you can call Mommy or whatever, and she's taking care of the Tennos and allowing you to inhabit and facilitating that process, right? Keeping you safe, keeping you protected throughout the stories. So the second dream comes out. It's been out for a long time, by the way. And it goes into the revelations and a bit of backstory about the Tenno, and involves a couple of interesting characters you would have met along the way, as well as some new characters, such as the Worm Sisters. And while dealing with them, I don't want to downplay how momentous this is. There's a point where they found where the Tenno are being protectively hidden, because they're so important that they're being hidden, right? These Tenno are so important. These orphans from a ship that crashed through the void in a very sort of Warhammer-esque fashion. And the baddies have found them. They're keeping it simple here. The baddies have found where you are. So you have to go there to defend your own body, right? That's what you're doing. So you're in the frame and you've got to go there and defend your body. And it all gets very epic until this pod comes down within the like the womb, essentially. They refer to it as the womb all the time. And it just descends in front of you and it opens. And within it is a human body, a frail human body, because you've atrophied while you've been in there. And you're completely covered, right, in this like almost Matrix suit. And your frame picks you up. And you have this really cool showdown with a character called Tension, of trying to protect your own body, right, but via this automaton, the frame that you're controlling. And this was all really, really fun. And it was like, oh, cool, that's me. That's actually me. Like, I'm seeing me. And you're like all encased and stuff. And then I can't believe this happened. You get to the point where you're putting that character back and there's a face reveal. And what opens is a character creation screen. Years after this game came out, and they never marketed it. Can you believe that? They never told any of the players in this big update that came for the game that you were about to be able to create your own character. Because until then, the Tenno had been a distant thing. It was all about the frames. And just even me, and here's the weird thing. If you play Warframe now, which you should do, right? You can get it on Steam for free. You will create a character at the start of the game because they've included it there now. Because this has been out for a long time. But at the time, that didn't exist. And instead, they released this big update for their players. And never once mentioned that midway through this quest chain, which is a very great quest chain, you'll be presented with the ability to edit and create your character. And now your character, the Tenno, is going to actively be participating in missions. And at the time, I was starstruck because there is no way, I think, in modern era that you would do something like that because you would want the sales. But these updates just come for free for Warframe. They're just added, so they didn't need to do that. But you would still market it to get it in, not be years later asking me to to go and play it and just have fun. And to have this revelation of this moment where it's like it just drops you straight into a character creation screen. And what's brilliant from there is they have given you a lot of powers, because your void influence, which is why you have the strong connection with the Tenno, with the frames. And now you have, like, very similar to, if you guys ever played Shadow of Mordor, where you got all those powers where you could sort of like warp around, or Control had a bit of this as well, these sort of void warp powers where you can inhabit other creatures, because you can control frames. You can actually utilize that power elsewhere. And what's great is they added a whole new tech tree just for your character, which could affect your frames as well, and then gave you a new super ability in the game where you actually pull out of the frame as your sort of ethereal body to unleash this void psychic energy upon everything. And just to have that moment of, it's one of those things that you regret so much not being able to be a part of that. There are certain things that happen in games that I think about, like FF14's transfer from A Realm Reborn, transfer from OG to A Realm Reborn, that you're like, God, so sad I missed that, right? In World of Warcraft, it'd be like the original opening of the Gates of Ahn'Qiraj. I was there, and I'm so happy I was, despite the laggy, crashy nightmare that it was, but I was there to have that. And people can't talk about it in like Fortnite as well, when something crashes into the planet and it's just growing over time. All these elements of these online persistent worlds that we play in have this ability to create these special moments if you can resist the temptation to tell everybody it's going to happen, because you know that will give you more users. And you have to take that risk sometimes of like, well, people are going to find out on the day of release and the word will spread. And people are like, oh, cool. So you can get it that way. It's like, dude, you can create your own character now, which is mad. Like, previously we were just creating all these frames, and now we can actually make our own character, and it's voice acted. It's the whole business is going in there. Extraordinary. Like, the story itself that's happening in Second Dream, which I haven't touched on because I don't think it's necessary for spoiler reasons, is also awesome and is already leading to 2 further quest lines called The War Within and The War Without, I think it's called. And I'm doing The War Within right now, and I'll happily update you on that one as it's going with a bit more of a spoilerific thing. But, I mean, the point here is, it's not just the sponsorship that we got for this video is genuinely them saying, like, just let Mike play and have fun and find stuff out because we know he's going to like it, and probably you guys would too. That's what this game is about, right? Tons and tons of free updates that just keep coming out for the game over 12 years. And still able to do things and take that risk. And it's something that, as far as I know, I haven't gone all the way through the story yet, is that they continue to take those kinds of risks, which is to do moments like this, which just a shock and awe. So if that sounds tempting to you as a company that is taking those kind of risks, and a game that is free, and also is world-renowned for its combat and movement, it's extremely slick. It actually, genuinely, it makes other games in its genre feel clunky. I'm not going to mention any names. You'll know the ones. In comparison to the amount of movement and mobility you have. Regularly when I play offline, off stream and things with Nupps on the team, he regularly brings up like, dude, every time I play a different game, I feel like I'm shilling a lot here, but I'm not, because it's true. And you figure it out when you play it. It's absolutely true. It's like, dude, I just wish I could do this in other games. But I just wanted to tell you, this Second Dream experience is what you wanted to focus on, because it just made me smile. I think you could tell that is like, wow, I don't see that coming from many places anymore, which is like hold back something like that just to have that experience and revelation for the player. Amazing. Incredible. So Warframe, guys, it's on Steam, totally free, well worth checking out. You probably heard about it, but especially if you like unlocking and getting very cool armors, it's hard to beat. Check it out. Bye, guys.